is Ian Miller,
What's going on, guys? It's Andrew.
and welcome to another exciting episode of Media Talk with Miller and Smith. Tonight we have a very special guest on our show. Smith, why don't you introduce our guest?
It's one of my very good friends, well, who I've known for a long time, and then one of Ian's good friends who he's met for a while. It's Zach. How you doing, Zach?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah. So, in case you guys don't know, Zach also has his podcast called The Forgotten Heroes. So,
Yep.
Zach, if you want to explain that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So me and my co-host Chris, we go over when we talk about like Marvel and DC heroes. We've actually started to dip into some more indie stuff. We're trying to do more. We actually did Spawn, which was a really big indie episode. And we talk about like the versions that people know. So like Iron Man, Captain America, Superman, Batman. But then also we talk about the versions that most people don't know. Like Superman, most people don't know about President Superman, or Batman. They don't know about the Bat Lantern, as I call him. He's called the Green Lantern, but I call him Bat Lantern, or versions like that. Even superheroes that most people don't know about, like Blue Beetle or Plastic Man or Mr. Terrific, to name some recent episodes of my podcast. So yeah, we can, and I'm sure toward the end I'll do more plugs for that, to where to find it and whatnot.
That's all right. That's all right. Okay, so that is Zach, folks. Tonight we're going to actually continue a little bit more about the Disney Expo. This is part 2 of that discussion, but that's not going to be the full basis of the episode. We're going to get into what we think are the best MCU movies so far.
Because there are, what, over 10 years at this point?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so the D23, the thing that other than I'm excited about Black Panther 2, that's honestly goes without saying, right? But for me, the Thunderbolts, I never really crossed my mind until they announced it that they would ever have a movie. Because when most people look at the Thunderbolts, they're like, oh, it's Marvel's Suicide Squad. It's like, well, yes, except they die less. And some of them actually want to be reformed. This is just the only way to do it because the public doesn't trust them, at least in the comics.
Yeah.
In the movies, I have no idea why they're all coming together, other than, well, the world doesn't really have the Avengers, so this, the government will form their own, or whatever it is. At least I suspect it's the government. Could be Hydra.
Yeah, because we have the Countess Valentina, obviously played by the talented Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, which is the Countess, aka Madam Hydra, in the comics, and having. Well, I know they didn't show Baron Zemo, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna be either on the group unwillingly, like as in they don't want him, but he forces so that, or he's the bad guy. Bad guy, I say. Yeah, they're all bad guys. My surprising thing for that was Taskmaster, because I looked into it. It's the same one, and I was really hoping it was going to be a different one. And I spoke about it on my podcast a little bit. I hope they do this. This Taskmaster actually is not just, there. Like, I don't know. The end of Black Widow caused them to actually become a person again. So, I mean, that's my hope. I don't know.
Only time will tell.
The one that surprised me, which we talked about on our last podcast, on our last episode, was Bucky, which, who has been turned good, throughout the rest of the Marvel series. But that one just caught my eye a little bit as a little bit of a surprise, because he hasn't been bad for a while. So,
well, for me, I think the reason why we have Bucky, I'm not going to call him Winter Soldier, he's Bucky. But the reason why they have him on the team is because if you look at the rest of them, Ghost, the new black, Yelena, Taskmaster. Wow, who am I? Why am I blanking right now? Who else
You
is on that
got
team?
John Walker, U.S. Agent.
Thank you, Walk U.S. Agent. No wonder I blanked. I forgot who. Anyway, yeah, unstable, literally borderline. He's not stable. John
No,
Walker.
no.
And then you Red Justice. I don't want to call him Red Justice. His name is Red Guardian.
Mhm.
Yeah.
None of those guys, none of them really are leader material, and like I said, the John stable. The only I would say out of all of them, Yelena and Bucky are the two who are more Bucky more
Yeah.
than Yelena, but so I think that's why he's there. I feel like he's not going to be there. He's not there getting recruited. He's more like, this is not happening unless I'm on it. And if I'm not on it, I'm stopping you.
I say that's fair. That's definitely fair.
So that's what I think for it. I mean, what about you guys? What else was a little bit of a surprise?
Trying to think. I mean, pretty much what they brought out was pretty much what we expected. I mean, there were some Disney stuff in there I was a little bit surprised at. There was the Mufasa prequel, which I didn't really think they were gonna do.
Yeah,
But
that was strange.
yeah. But I mean, everything else, I mean, was pretty much what we expected. I mean,
Right, the Mandalorian. So
yeah,
you guys, okay. So the funny thing is, you guys went over we're talking about D23 as a whole. On my podcast, we did just a little mini-sode on just the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I'm glad you guys went over all of it.
we did a whole thing on each category. So,
Yeah.
Ian, what about you? What do you think was a big surprise or something you never expected?
Well, I know this project had been, swirling around the think tank for a bit, which was the Armor Wars, storyline. Now, as
Mhm.
many of you comic geeks know this, I guess I'm going to call all as comic geeks because that's what we are. It was a very iconic storyline in the Iron Man comic series. So to see it
Mhm.
adapted in this in such a way is exciting, and also get to see Rhodey a bit more as War Machine, but also him as a man, because we only got brief glimpses of him during the entire MCU saga, just very brief glimpses, mostly seen through the eyes of Tony Stark. So that was exciting to see that. Another surprise, even though I know this is coming out, was Secret Invasion. I'll tell you why this was a surprise. Because this is the first time we're actually seeing Nick Fury on Earth. We're going to get some answers to why he was in space for so long.
And also, he's not just showing up to be like a consultant or whatever for a major plot happening, which is it's going to revolve around him, which I think would be really cool to see some super spy action with him. My thing with the Secret Invasion, and I'm going off the comic because the comic was like awesome. Like the comic was great. The only reason it happened though is because of one reason was because of the Illuminati.
Yeah.
They they kind of provoked the Skrulls. The major part was it was basically like it was a manifest destiny of the Skrulls. So it was like there was a religious princess. I can't remember her name. It's not really that important right now, but she is like, listen, our whole world is gone, and it was destroyed by a destroyer and a wave. which in the comics was the Annihilation Wave and Galactus. So once that prophecy came true, most, if not all, of the Skrull factions came together and were like, okay, so what's the next part? Well, in the prophecy, it says that Earth is promised to us, so we're gonna go get that. And they slowly were like replacing people for years. I believe it was predicted in the comics. So, or it was not predicted, it was said in the comics. So this secret invasion, I'm curious of why, because based off of Captain Marvel, Talos and his group were good. They were on our side, and they've been helping on Earth for a while. Now we're going to have a section of Skrulls that are enemies, and I think that's going to put in a whole wrench because, and I'm going to admit it, MCU and real life, one of you, and this is one couple of bad apples, a whole bunch gone, right? You're not going to like it. So having like, yeah, we have good Skrulls, but then here are these bad Skrulls. I feel like Marvel citizens in the world are going to go, all Skrulls are bad, all aliens are bad. And I don't know. I'm worried for that. Especially if they're going to start introducing more, because it's like, well, not all of them are bad. You just have this one radical sect of Skrulls that are like, the Earth is ours, and we're going to take over slowly without you knowing about it. Also, and there was this scene, and I know I mentioned it on my podcast, there's a scene where there's a crow or raven that caws at Nick Fury, and he looks up at it really suspiciously, and I can't help but think he knows that could be a Skrull, because not only can they shapeshift into humans, they could shapeshift into living creatures, and which in the comics drew me back to the Skrull cows that caused I think it was a bunch of meat products to be spoiled and cause, health issues for humans in the MCU in the Marvel comics. So I'm like, if I don't see a Skrull turn into a cow, I'm gonna be upset. Like, give me one. I want the one. Give me my Skrull cows.
Well, hopefully you'll get one. At least just one.
Right. Yeah, but also that is supposed to lead directly into Armor Wars.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know how. How is that going to lead into, how you connect it? How are you going to end Secret Invasion and start Armor Wars? How does that lead? I'm really curious.
Yeah, because that, I don't see it, like what the plot is for Secret Invasions. I don't see that going, like how they can turn that in, going forward into Armor Wars. Unless, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Unless they have like a post-credit scene or something with Tony's tech stolen or something like that, but I don't know. I don't know.
Right. Maybe it's like Rhodey was the one that, that's why he thinks it's his responsibility to go out and stop all these people using Stark tech that Tony never would have released to the public, because a Skrull went in as him and stole it. So now it's his. I don't know. I also expect the Hood to get announced for Ironheart. That was surprising for me.
Yeah.
Because he's such a small. He thinks he's big. Life keeps smacking him in the face. Is like, nope, you stay back down street level. You are not world level. So I want to see how that works. But then also, because we're going over more D23 stuff, the oh my God, why can't I remember it? The Marvel AR game made by that's weird to me. I mean, I want to see how you do it, but like, what? How is that gonna work?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's so strange. And Little Mermaid, very excited for that. Because I remember hearing all the haters, and I'm like, stop. I see the trailer, I'm like, and everybody be quiet now, because it's fabulous. That's it. That's all I need.
Yeah, so. See, that's what we talked about. I mean, we can't listen to the reviews. We can't listen to all the haters out there. We just have to listen to, or
people are just gonna hate. Yeah,
the movie.
People are just gonna hate to hate.
Yeah.
That's it. It's Inside Out 2. Never thought that was going to get a sequel.
Yeah.
Also,
No.
another Peter Pan movie.
Yeah, that was a little surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it on our last episode. Like, do we want it? I guess we'll get this opinion on you for you, Zach. We talked about it. Like, do we want it how it's always been, or do we want like the next Peter Pan movie to go like towards the book as what the book was?
Change it. And I know I talk about this on my podcast with like whenever Chris and I had done like reviews or like speculations, like we did for Doctor Strange 2, which was like, or for future, for any movie really, especially MCU. Change it. I want to see an adaptation, but I don't want to see a direct adaptation. Like, if I go watch Peter Pan and Wendy, I don't want it to be like the original Peter Pan movie. I want to see something different. Change it. How does the director interpret the book, maybe, or give me the book? Whatever. Like if I can make one more point, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's all right. Sorry.
For like, okay, Secret Invasion, I already know is going to be way different than the. Okay, better yet, Secret Wars, when that comes out, I don't want the 2015 version directly or the original Marvel Secret Wars. I want give me a new interpretation of it. Give me a new adaptation with the director's interpretation. That's why, like, I don't know, as disliked as Man of Steel is. That's but while it is a misinterpretation of I feel like of the character of Superman, it's Zack Snyder's interpretation. So I'm like, his interpretation, you did good. I don't know. I see why you didn't call it Superman though. So, but that's what I'm saying. Give me an adaptation. Give me your interpretation. Don't give me, but because I don't want to go sit and watch an MCU movie if I've already read it. Like for Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. It's totally gonna mostly adapted from Doom War. So I don't, great, adapt it, change it. However, if I read Doom War and I go watch the movie and it's just Doom War, I already know the story. Oh look, here come the X-Men. Which they're not gonna do, but like if that were to happen, it's like I already knew that was gonna happen because of the book. So,
all right, that's fair. I did have an idea how to, sort of change the Peter Pan story in particular. Was what if we made it modern? What if Wendy was from our specific time, the present day, and she's experiencing Neverland almost like a time travel story,
So you're talking like in present day, or
like Wendy's walking around with an iPhone and then goes to Peter Pan.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. She has to pretty much she's just coming into this new world completely an outsider, because iPhone doesn't work, nothing works. She's just relying on just her wits and just being with this kid, who never grew up.
Right. Who probably is like looking all this modern technology, like, wow, and then it's just like she's like, what are you talking about, dude? Okay. No, I would like to see that. And I think one last thing, and then we could, if you guys want to move on to the MCU, our favorite movies. Willow. I've never seen that movie. I see the trailer for this show, and I'm like, now I'm watching this movie.
Yeah.
I have to. Because and I'm sure it's an older movie, so the effects aren't going to be like modern day, which is fine. This is what you gotta That's what I think. When people like watch older movies, you gotta have to separate what you get now, how it used to be. I just know I'm gonna go in there and go like, yeah, but I can see it. All right, forget it. Like that's the man in a suit. All right, but it came out in the olden times, so let it go.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would actually watch that show. Now I would have to watch the movie, but no, I think I would be very, very interested in seeing that show. There's one more point that I want to bring up and then we'll move on. That me and Ian didn't get to talk about last time. So since we're here, which was the Black Panther.
Oh my god, I'm excited for that. Yes, it's set in World War II, so it's not T'Challa, but I don't know if it's T'Chaka. That's where I'm a little. The heart-shaped herb. I don't know how much longevity it gives the Black Panther, so maybe it gives him a little bit of longevity. But I'm just excited to see make, because it's going to be made by those who worked on Uncharted.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but which is weird to me because I remember those games aren't all about combat, but when you have Black Panther, Captain America, a World War II soldier, it looked like it's going to be, and a Dora Milaje member.
Yeah.
That sounds not like it's heavy combat, but that sounds like it's going to be more combat than like a normal Uncharted game would be. So
Yeah,
I'm curious to see how they do it.
I think it's just exciting to have these two great characters and doing a period video game, which is very rare. You don't see, many video games set in the 40s.
Unless it's something like Wolfenstein, which is alternate history. So,
Yeah.
which actually, no, that's, well, the beginning of Wolfenstein is alternate history. I guess the newer Wolfensteins are modern day if they want. Anyway, yeah, no, you're right. Most World War II stuff isn't either a period game or accurate, really. So it'll be interesting to see that and to see who they have to fight because they're gonna have to fight somebody.
Absolutely. Okay. So now we've covered pretty much our thoughts on the Disney Expo. Let's actually talk about the best MCU films so far.
Okay, great. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Do we want to start like from each phase, or do we want to just start like all like just your favorite Marvel or?
Why don't we do? How about this? Let's, because now I think about it. Which one was our favorite per phase?
Okay.
Fair enough. All right. We'll start.
All right. Yeah, I was just say, hey, you guys can start.
All right. Okay. I'll just say this.
Okay.
For phase one, gotta be the Avengers. Gotta be that.
All right, I'm in there. I'm there too. Like everyone's origins, that was cool. But yes, the Avengers was like the MCU movie at the time because we didn't have any movie like that before. It was either immediate team ups or immediate team movie or whatever. It wasn't. We had all these origins, then the team up. So yeah, that movie I think for phase one is also my favorite. And just to honestly has I feel like some of the most iconic lines that I can think of, especially from phase one, of just, what was it? He is my brother, the Prince of Asgard. He killed 80 people in the last 2 days. He's adopted. Like I don't think they had so many lines they were given. They was just, here's what's happening. go whatever. This is at least what we want you to say. Everything else was improv. All the funny stuff was just improv.
Yeah. Including my favorite line, puny god.
Oh my god. That's like his best line, I think, in a long time, Hulk. I mean, like now he's able to talk great, but well, even before Smart Hulk, but still, Savage Hulk he only needed the one line the entire movie, and that was perfect. So
yeah.
Andrew, what about you? Do you agree with us?
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
Okay.
I mean, we just yeah, no, I mean, the origin stories are cool. How they all got their start, especially Iron Man. That would, but yeah, no, I would totally agree that Avengers would be my favorite one of Phase One because, I mean, you had Incredible Hulk, which was with Edward Norton that started out, but then you had Mark Ruffalo.
Right, which is also still canon. Like they mention it multiple times.
Yeah.
That, he was there, he broke Harlem. And then because of She-Hulk, we actually get to see Abomination again since that movie.
Right. No, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. And then, Mark Ruffalo transferring over to that role, which I thought was a much better move. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah. Originally,
Right.
the director wanted Mark Ruffalo to be in the Incredible Hulk, but they wanted a bigger name, and Edward Norton was it. So yeah, that's Phase One. What's Phase Two?
So Phase Two for me, okay, was Thor. No, it wasn't Thor 2. No, that movie. Ugh. Anyway,
Tell us how you really feel.
Right.
Oh God.
I think for me has to be. Okay. It's really tied between 3 of them.
Mhm.
Okay.
But the one that's leaning more to my favorite is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Mostly because it could be serious and really funny at the same time. Also brought at the time, like if anybody at that time went to read Guardians books, not the same. 100%. They were polar opposites basically. They were unrecognizable in the comics. But that movie brought such a no-name team and made them famous.
Yeah.
Plus also
Yeah.
brought the space side, the cosmic side of the MCU into focus, because we were up until then we were mostly in Earth with a little bit of Asgard, but then it was like, nope, space is the thing.
Okay. You're definitely right, because it's definitely leaning towards that, and I agree with you because it's exciting, it's fun. We're in space. You're dealing with this crew that don't like each other at first, and they start to come together for this one cause, and they're like, okay, maybe these guys will actually stick around a bit longer.
Yeah, and the I don't know, it did what the Annihilation comics did for the Marvel cosmic side of everything. It literally just brought it into focus, like, hey, by the way, this is a thing. So
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off there, Andrew.
No, you're good. You're good. For me, it's tough. Because this was a good phase. I'd have to go with the Age of Ultron.
See,
All
that was tied.
Yeah.
It was that one, Guardians, and Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Age of Ultron.
No, go ahead.
Well,
no, Zach.
I was gonna say, you can explain first. Why is that your favorite?
No, because mostly, not mostly, but I loved how they cast James Spader as Ultron, because it made him so, he's also funny, but
Yeah.
it made him like that, the voice made him a threat in the movie. But because in that movie, Tony made Ultron, and he kind of blames himself for
Yeah.
what happens down the line in the movies. But
well, worse could have been made by Hank Pym.
Yeah, that got it worse.
Anyway,
that is true.
which was the original creator in the comics of Ultron, which woof. You guys, if people thought that Ultron was dark and brooding and a little scary, go pick up the books.
Yeah,
But even
way
if you go pick up
scarier.
way scarier. And then the Age of Ultron book is completely different than the movie, which I remember I heard about it, and then I found the book and I read the book, and I'm like, how the hell are you gonna adapt this? They didn't adapt that, and I'm like, thank goodness. But it's really good. Vision, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver. I know why we don't have Quicksilver in the MCU, and I don't like that. However, nothing I can do about it. But the way he died was bogus. They actually, now I think about it, they told us he was not as fast as bullets from.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. Especially with Quicksilver, still, yeah, not faster than the speeding bullet.
Apparently not.
What a cheap waste. Cheap waste.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yep. Ian, what's your favorite of Phase 2?
Okay, it's between these three. We've already mentioned two of them, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think I think I know which one you're going to go with.
Yeah, which
I'm actually going to go with Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
I knew it.
Yeah.
The three of us are like in sync, and I love that.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. It's mostly because it's not just Captain America's story and Bucky's story. It's very much a Nick Fury story. Because he's very much a focal point, and we're getting to see that S.H.I.E.L.D. is not all that's cracked up to be. There are literally cracks in the foundation from Hydra, and it really picks up very fast, especially with Nick Fury in the car scene. It's like one of the biggest action set pieces in the MCU at that time.
Yeah. And I have to say, like the Winter Soldier, Captain America 2, Captain America the Winter Soldier, whatever. That movie was also just, like, yeah, it's a superhero movie, but it's more like a super spy movie, really.
Yeah.
And having had like, because that was the thing I remember when, like, after the Avengers, it was kind of like, why is nobody mentioning Hydra other than they existed? Like, in the comics, they're still kicking around. Oh, that's why. They've been literally from the creation of S.H.I.E.L.D. have been there the entire time and have infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. Because what better way to hide from your enemies than to be part of your enemies and still be functioning in the background? Granted, this was also tied in with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, which quickly, I think, went off the rails, and not rails, but went off and did its own thing and became its own universe. But having that tie-in was great, because they had an entire season of who's part of Hydra, who's actually part of S.H.I.E.L.D., can't trust anybody, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But just, again, Bucky coming back and Falcon being introduced, which I was worried about that. I'm like, how are we gonna make Falcon cool? Because as I remember, at the time, his outfit, his powers, very different.
Absolutely.
No, definitely.
So, but yeah, those three, I think, are all of our top favorites. I think we just each hit on one of them. I don't know, because we have our own reasons for why that one is slightly higher for us.
Yeah.
All right, Phase Triss.
Yeah, Phase Trace. Ian, why don't you go first this time?
Oh, geez. Where do I begin here? My God. Oh man.
Do you cop out and do the answer everybody's just expecting us to give?
No, absolutely
two?
not. No, absolutely not. Why do you guys go ahead first? I need to really give some serious thought to this. Jesus.
Okay.
Come on, man.
All right. My
Hey.
favorite. Listen, my favorite obviously was Captain Marvel. No, Captain Marvel was not bad, but it was not great. And the only reason I say that is because it was an origin movie, and at the time, people weren't looking for that. Other than, honestly, my favorite, Black Panther, because again, in the comics, he was not an A-lister. I'm going to be generous and say he was most likely a B-lister. Because when Iron Man actually started in the MCU, which that was a shot in the dark, this could have never happened. MCU could have never kicked off. Iron Man was C tier. Black Panther, I think, was, I want to say B tier. I personally think he was B tier. But to adapt, like, just that vast history of the most technological place on Earth that was hidden from the rest of Earth. And again, having majority of your main cast all be person of color, phenomenal. Again, because that's not something that was not done at the time. Even in the comics, you know, you'd have other characters show up and kind of not save the day, but help out, which then would leave the day being saved. No, all Black Panther the entire time, nobody else, all Wakanda, that's it. And Chadwick Boseman is such a great casting, and I'm very glad that they're not replacing him. And I also read recently that Chadwick Boseman had to give the director a little push to do the movie without him before he passed away.
Yeah.
Which every time I get to that scene where he's when he's yelling at his cousin, when he's just like, as you can see, I'm not dead. Every time he says it, I'm like, damn it. I mean, internally, I'm like, fuck. It's not true anymore. But so that's just, and the music is phenomenal.
Oh, it's an incredible score. Incredible score.
Incredible.
And I love everything about that movie. Everything. You know, from the costumes, the set design, the music, but more importantly, the cast. The cast really made this movie.
Great.
They really did a great job when Michael B. Jordan cast as the villain.
Killmonger.
Yeah.
My only gripe, killing him off. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, Marvel needs to stop killing these villains, because so many of these villains they could have just kept, like Ultron.
I agree.
Ultron is the only one that I could see they somehow bring back. And the only reason I could see them bringing him back is because of, well, Vision 2.0. But everybody else is gone. And I'm like, why? Stop killing them.
Yeah.
So, Andrew, what's your favorite? Oh, Ian, you're gonna go?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. They're gonna say no. They're gonna say no. We're not gonna kill. We're not gonna not kill off every villain. We're not gonna do it. Sorry. We're not gonna do it. No. No.
I don't know. I personally feel like Marvel it'd be so much, like, one, it'd be easier, but two, you could tell better. You could tell more stories if you stop killing off your villains. Unless it's like, if we don't kill him off, all of reality is going to explode. Other than that, leave him. Put him in prison. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like we could have, like, if they kept him alive, we could have had, they could have done that too, but like, we could have had like spin-offs of them of how they became what they are or what they were.
Yeah.
I mean, I think maybe they could still do that, but I mean, if they kept them alive, I don't know.
It'd be a lot easier.
Yeah. All right, for me, I had so many good movies in this. I'm not gonna take the cop out, which, you know, I think,
which is which is part 1 and part 2.
Exactly. But for me, I think I'm gonna go with Civil War.
Okay, bold choice. Very bold choice.
Well, again,
Because-
defend yourself. No, I'm kidding.
I think Civil War. I mean, that was like just just an amazing movie on for me, because you got your first look at Spider-Man with Tom Holland. Um, great costume they did, and pretty much like it was interesting to see how they took the sides and how it actually became a war, because that was actually pretty interesting.
Now that I think about, because you mentioned Spider-Man, I'm sure for people who know me, shocked that I didn't say Spider-Man, that either Spider-Man movies, because they're both in phase 3. Oh no. Yeah, they're both in phase.
Oh yeah, they're both in phase 3.
Yeah.
Phase 3. Oh my lord. Yeah, those are great, and I love both of them. But I've already, not that I've already seen Spider-Man movies, but like that character has already had movies. Black Panther has not had a live action movie ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, most of these live action movies most of these characters never actually had movies, other than Captain America and, well,
Yeah.
we don't like to talk about those movies.
No,
But-
absolutely not.
But Civil War for me, and I keep saying that, and I hear this joke a lot. It could have been, the people like, they could have called it Captain America Civil Disagreement, right?
They could have.
Because again, you're right. Because in the comics, it wasn't just, it spanned in a couple of like major heroes.
Right.
In the comics, it was the entire superhero community, including the villains. Like, I mean, granted, the reason behind the Soviet Accords was very similar to the
Superhuman Registration Act.
yes, but you're right, but it also had I think it had a something Accords. Anyway, yeah, very similar to that. I was blanking on the name of the, I'm not doing my job right, guys. Blanking on the name of the town that got blown up because of a no, not Sokovia, it's in the comics. Because of basically reality show superheroes. They're like, let's go after these bad guys.
Yeah.
One of them happens to be a mutant who can blow himself up, who's also been taking mutant growth hormone, wiped out the entire town because the superheroes are just doing whatever. And then the government was like, all right, no more of this. So they're like, Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic, Hank Pym, you guys gonna be the faces? They're like, yeah, we'll be the faces. And Captain America's like, not my America, which is actually the whole point of Captain America in the comics. He doesn't just, blindly follow America. It's the ideal. But this movie, I think, stuck to that with him. And like, it was also less about the whole superhero community and more about like a family that was formed, getting pulled apart.
Agreed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's one mistake.
Yeah, I've always been conflicted about this movie because both sides actually have a point. They both have valid points. And
Right.
the problem was, with the government forcing these accords on them, they couldn't have any real common ground to say, okay, I see this side, but we also need to worry about this side. All right. Because let's face it,
Right.
they need the Avengers.
Right, which in the comics, their resolution after all of this was, we're not going to talk about Prison 42, but it was every single state will have its own super team, which all of them would answer to local, if not federal governments, the federal government, and also local governments. And they will be trained. Anybody who wants to be a superhero will be trained before they actually go join these teams. So you go to boot camp to go be a superhero. Cloud, and I'm just spitballing. I'm just naming names right now. Komodo, Cloud9, Slapstick, MVP. These are nobody. If somebody didn't just go, I know who that is. It would not surprise me that nobody has any idea of those characters I just named, but they were all young heroes who wanted to become super and join teams. Every state had a team at that point. Granted, this led to Secret Invasion. However, while the initiative was going on, you had the Mighty Avengers and the New Avengers, because Captain America was still like, no, we're not doing this. But this movie was just a really good, easier way to condense it all, rather than it taking forever to resolve itself.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that leaves it up to me, and this is actually gonna shock people. You guys may think it's a cop out, but I got legitimate reasons why this is actually one of my favorites of
Okay.
the Phase 3.
Okay, wait. Okay, wait. Can we guess?
No, you're not gonna guess. I'm gonna say it.
Oh,
It's
I
one
kn-
of two.
It's Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
I'll tell you why. You have pretty much two separate teams, are just waiting for Thanos. Tony knows what the threat is because he's already seen it firsthand at the end of the first Avengers movie.
Mhm.
So he knows a bigger threat's coming. The others
Well,
don't. The others
kind of,
don't really
I guess.
know.
Right. No, you're right.
So he's clearly scared out of his mind here. So when he says it's strange, I don't think it's a smart idea to fight him on our turf. It's better if we fight on his turf. So I'm like, okay, at least he's trying to formulate a plan here. While Cap is in Wakanda with his team, they're preparing for the worst. They're trying to also get Vision's Mind Stone out without killing Vision. So you have these two conflicting conflicts that are happening here, and then once it's over, it's over.
This is actually the first movie where the heroes lose.
Yeah, and it's actually, and the reason why I like it is this, because you just realize how far we've gone. You need these teammates, but then Civil War happened. And this one tragic, event brings them back together. But you need to see the gravity of what their choices were during this course of this whole movie. And then just to real the fact that some of your close friends are gone. They're dust. How do you live with that? So then when we get to the end game, we start to see, okay, how they're really dealing with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think Infinity War is actually my favorite of this phase, aside from Black Panther.
Yeah, I think
That's a different category right there.
Yes, but yeah, no. See, and that's why it's really tied for me. It's tied with Black Panther, but Black Panther just beats it for me because they don't win. They lose, but I also have to say that though it's two separate teams, they're two different teams. I think the only reason why when Thanos comes to Earth, he's not. I mean, he still wipes the floor with them, but I feel like it would have gone a lot faster if he didn't also fight people before going there. Like you have to think. I have to think about it. Like Steve Rogers held Thanos's hand up, right? There's no way if Thanos wasn't tired or slightly, annoyed or inconvenienced by the other team, that Steve could have ever held him back like that, even for like seconds.
Yeah.
But that's just me. Of like different team kind of leads to the other. But phase 2 was definitely most I think of the phase other than phase 4.
Yeah. Which we can talk about now.
And this is something I also want to make mention. Yes. Phase 3. Okay. People are having gripe with it right now because they're so used to going origins and stuff, right? And also the TV shows are kind of experimental, but for movies, we're getting origins, whatever. We're getting explanation movies. People are like, what's happening here? it's been a while since we've had phase 1, so people aren't, used to it again.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Was he?
But and then we were gonna acknowledge it. However, my favorite of phase 4. Actually, I want to say this first. My second favorite of phase 4. No, fuck. Okay, hold on. All right. My I have 2 tied for first, Doctor Strange and Shang-Chi. But my third, I guess, I think it's my second, is Eternals. And I want to say why. Because it's breaking the mold, right? And again, it's bringing even more cosmic level stuff down to Earth, bringing it to our attention. Eternals is not all about, beat the bad guy and you win. It's kind of an exposition movie, but they do it beautifully. I just wish people knew about that before they went in to see the movie, but whatever.
I mean,
But
no, no.
No, I want to hear what your opinion on Eternals before I move to my actual favorite.
No, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I thought it was pretty good. They just, the fans take it like way out of proportion.
Mhm.
But it was, just to make it short and sweet here. I mean, it was all around pretty good. I mean, in my opinion, it wasn't amazing. Like, it wasn't great, but I mean, I thought it was pretty entertaining. And like I said, I mean, it's fans just blow way out of proportion. I think.
I agree with you. Like, it was a good movie, more basically lore for the MCU, but it's not as bad as the fans think. Now, but my favorite, other than Doctor Strange 2, and I'm only saying other than that because it came out recently, is Shang-Chi. Because again, they took a no-name hero and blew him up, and I love it. Oh my god. First off, the 10 rings part worried me because I was afraid it was going to be a guy wearing 10 rings like he does in the comics.
Yeah.
No, it's just 10 armbands, which are more for weight, which look more like for martial arts and weight training, that have superpowers basically. And and it's a story of like a father and a son and whatever, and there's a big monster at the end, but just the choreography was amazing.
Yeah, it really was, and it really is that good of a movie.
Mm-hmm. The set design was great.
Yeah.
There was no, again, predominantly Asian cast, so not a whole lot of Americans. I don't want to say mucking it up, but it was all basically, it did not stray away from the culture. And I love that.
Yeah.
So that's why Shang-Chi is my favorite of the Phase 4 movies.
Okay, I guess I'll go next.
If I know you too well, I think I know what you're gonna say. If I know you, which I'm pretty sure I did.
All right, what is it?
All right. Since apparently this is going to be obvious to Smith, I will say it. And this is for very reasons. It's Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yes.
I knew it too. So I love Spider-Man. Seeing all 3 and all the villains, amazing. However, I wanted to keep it MCU house. To me, that's MCU Sony, but leaning more towards MCU. But I'm like, what was predominantly MCU stuff? Shang-Chi. Okay, Ian, please explain to me why Bug Boy is the best ever.
Okay. It was a very well thought out story. You had real life and death situations there. You had, seeing our Spider-Man interact with his counterparts from the previous films from the franchise, but also you get to see our Peter Parker really wants something and really living with the consequences of his actions. Because not only did he bring everyone who knew he was Spider-Man into this universe, you know, Aunt May's death. Didn't see that one coming. And that was a hard one, and he's gonna live with that guilt for the rest of his life. But at the end of the movie, when he talks to Strange and says, "What if everyone forgot who I was?" He's owning his own mistake, and he's now going on a very, lonely path because nobody knows who he is. It's a very
Yeah,
lonely thing, and he's becoming the Peter Parker that we've come to know.
yeah.
Also, I'm sorry, there's one last thing. He made his own costume. He doesn't have the Stark tech, anymore, and he's becoming his own man.
See, that's why I also love about that movie, because it wasn't just an origin movie; it's been an origin trilogy this entire time, and now he's truly Spider-Man, and now we can literally go in any direction now. I personally, two things. I want to find out that when he goes to college, he meet his roommate or whoever, his lab partners, or Harry Osborn. I mean, it's not gonna happen because of freshman year, but it'd be really funny if he runs into Harry Osborn is out, Gwen Stacy, and he has to write about his professor is Kurt Connors. He's gonna have a panic attack. Hello, I'm Dr. Connors. I'll be your professor. I want you all to write an essay on this up and coming scientist named Octavius. Peter would be like, "Ha!" Be panicking because he's like, he's getting PTSD from that stuff. But also, if the spell of Doctor Strange affected everybody on Earth, and Peter Parker has met Thor and the Guardians, do they still know who he is?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a very good question.
That's a question.
So that will have to be answered in the future. I really want that to happen. If people it was like they go to Secret War, and Thor's like, "Oh, good to see you again, Peter." And Peter's like, "What?" And everyone's like, "Who's Peter?" "Spider-Man." "What?" It's like, what did I miss? Like, I want that reaction of just like, huh?
Yeah, I mean that's all the other heroes, or did it just affect the normal people?
Yeah.
Well, did it affect everybody on Earth, or did it affect? Because it affected Doctor Strange, but
That's true. Yeah, it did.
Was it everybody on Earth, or was it the universe?
Yeah.
Andrew, what's your favorite Phase 4 movie?
I gotta go with what Ian said. Because again, it's not about. I mean, it's not about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming in. I mean, that was amazing. That was like one of the highlights of the movie. But it's not about that. It's not about all the other villains that came back and stuff like that. But it's mostly because of the story. I mean, Ian hit it on the head. I mean, it's mostly because of the story and how he's evolved. I mean, that was really the true what's it called? I should just reword it. It's pretty much why I like that movie so much because of the story.
Yeah, I mean,
because of how they
did it beautifully. They left out with the implications of there could have been more toward the end. I loved that. I think if they had done anybody other than those familiar villains, I think it would have probably taken away from the story. So having 5 out of 6 of essentially the Sinister Six just was great. But to me, and I love this. This is really funny to me. When we see different Spider-Men look different, and yet Doctor Strange looks the same across the multiverse. I don't understand how that works.
Yeah, that was
Explain.
weird. That was weird.
Yeah.
But it was also just, it was kind of more like, I'm Doctor Strange, and then it was like, hello, I'm Doctor Strange with a mustache, Doctor Strange with sideburns, Doctor Strange with a, I don't know, Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah.
Like barely, like, meanwhile, Spider-Man was different faces entirely.
Exactly.
So like, what happened?
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah. I do have to say though, Thor: Love and Thunder. Okay, Thor: Love and I'm gonna say it. Thor: Love and Thunder was a great, funny Thor movie. Was not a great adaptation of the God Butcher storyline, but that I honestly think is because if we had gotten the actual storyline, it would have been really confusing and strange.
Mm.
So I have to say, it was good for what it was. It was fun and enjoyable movie. So stop griping on it.
Yeah, I've said this in.
They're also memeing the fact. You go ahead, Ian. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I interrupted. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The internet's also memeing when Thor gave the kids, some lend some of his power. It's like, the hell did he didn't do that with Thanos? Wait a minute, hold on. I'm like, guys, I don't think he knew he could do it. He was kind of in a depressive state, so. But I just love that. The internet's just like, what the heck?
Yeah, I thought the love story was very touching because, again, Thor is really has grown through the course of his series, but he realizes that he really generally does love Jane. And in fact, in that hospital scene, where she's clearly succumbing to a cancer because of every time she uses the hammer, you can generally see that the love that they have with each other. You can generally see it.
I also like the fact that it was on the lore, like in the book that she read before she went to get Mjolnir. It said it would give, great health. It's like, yes, it would. However, you don't have that, Jane, and what's making you better is science. This is magic. It wipes away the science every single time.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that it's like, yeah, you have power, you have great health. If you had it to start, if you don't have it to start, it's not going to do anything for you.
Yeah.
Also, just the scenes of Stormbreaker slowly coming in the frame was like hilarious to me. I was like, all right, easy. First off, I was like, how are you it's like conscious? I'm like, excuse me? But that was just really funny. And the goats just screaming the entire time.
Yeah.
Could not get over that.
Also nice cameos from some of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes. So also good cameos from some of the gods and the statues at the, whatever. I don't remember what it was called. The Vault of Eternity or something.
Yeah. Well, that is pretty much our favorite, MCU films so far. Yet to come.
Okay, wait. We got one now. I think we should just end it with. And we'll go with each one. What now are you looking forward to the most? Which MCU movie are you now looking forward to the most and seeing?
Okay,
Ooh.
I'm looking forward to seeing. Is Black Panther 2? It was Wakanda Forever kind of a cop out only because it's soon.
I wouldn't call it a cop out.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see that. Listen, a Secret War is going to be amazing. That's a while from now. I want to see how they have Namor, and I want to see Wakanda Forever and how they keep this going. So it'll be beautiful, I'm sure. But that's the next one I'm excited about.
Ian?
Well, Zach, you took my answer. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So I'm just going to say it. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Andrew?
I'm going to change it up now. So
good.
What?
I said good. Thank you. Change it up. What's yours?
All right, so I am going to go with Captain America: New World Order.
Ooh,
Good.
Yeah.
Because I am looking forward to seeing how Sam actually handles the Captain America title now. And since now that they have a black Captain America in the movies now in the MCU, I feel like that puts a lot of pressure on Sam. I mean, not a lot of pressure, but I mean, because you saw how he was in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But he's starting to come with the idea of being Captain America. But I feel like he may have some pressure now because, but I mean, they've seen him in action on Falcon Winter Soldier, but given now that there's a new Captain America and he's black, I mean, the question still remains, like, how much pressure will be on him now with that title, and do you think he can overcome that?
And I think I want to add on to what you just said. Yeah, they've seen him in action against a terrorist group. Now, how are you going to do against a full-blown supervillain? Because now we have the leader. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, he can take down, organizations. How are you going to deal with a super genius who could conquer the planet?
We'll find out.
So
we'll find out. Well, that's it for us here this week on Media Talk with Miller and Smith. I'm Ian Miller.
I'm Andrew Smith.
And I'm Zach.
Have a good night, folks.
See you guys.
Bye, everybody.
If you'd like to follow us on YouTube, just hit that like button and subscribe.